So the second tip in how to deal with Asian parents when they care for your kids. So the first one I talked about was lowering your expectations, like throw those out the door. The second tip is to focus on the positive and their strengths. So in the previous one I talked about like having very little expectations with my parents, and that there really are just two things that they have to do, which is keep my kids safe, full, and clean. Okay, and the second thing is speaking Cantonese, only Cantonese to them. So and in the end, my loose reins worked out in my favor because my parents naturally started doing the right things. And when they started doing the right things, like I say right things because everyone has a different definition of what right is. I started focusing my attention, shifting my focus on the positive traits, and I started really appreciating their strengths. So here are some of the things that they did just naturally right because I wasn't telling them to do it, you know what I mean? They kind of just figured it out. So reading. So before COVID, without telling him to at all, my dad started taking my daughter to the library every Wednesday. As I said, like my dad he loves stories. He's a storyteller. He likes to watch movies. He's just like I'm very proud to say that I got my storytelling and story listening skills from him. And he really enjoys borrowing books. So he would go to the library with my daughter, do the story time, and then they would choose together a few books that they want to take out. And then he likes translating because he has to speak Cantonese to my daughter. So he'll translate them to my daughter. And then they also like on their days off, like he loves like scouring, the grocery store for books to buy for her. And he also was the one that bought like Chinese flashcards for her. So that's just something he naturally did, and I really appreciate that. Outdoor playtime, right? That's always something that a lot of parents want their caretakers to do with their kids, getting that fresh air. And luckily for me, like my mom is a very active person and she loves the outdoors. Like she loves hiking. I think she likes hiking a little too much, to be honest, because she started, and my sister, anyway, side story, you can obviously skip this part, but she loves hiking so much. We went on a hike with her one time and we saw a bear. And when we saw the bear, like she didn't hesitate. Like she just like, oh, it's a bear. And I'm like, it's a bear. And I was like pregnant at the time. I was freaking out. And I was like, let's get the fuck out of here, man. And she's just like, she wants to like get her camera out and take a picture of the bear. I'm like, Mom, like, no. Anyway, so she likes this so much. And then I'm like, and she tells me this is like the third time she saw the bear. I'm like, how are you still going hiking when there's a bear? You should stop. Like, try to choose a different trail. Like, go on and eat. Like, anyway. Because she loves the outdoors, she will spend hours at the playground with my daughter, just naturally. Like, and when the playgrounds were closed, she just went out to the backyard with my daughter and just run around. Like, she would run around on the field like 10 times with her. Mom would like sweat like a pig, and like dripping on her forehead underneath her like Darth Vader visor, those Asian mom visors. She'd wear one of those things. So like she just naturally took a liking. I mean, she likes to be outdoors anyway, so she just started doing that. Screen time. So for screen time, my parents started letting her watch Paw Patrol and Peppa Pig about a year ago. And for how long they let her watch, honestly, I have no clue. And to be honest, I don't really want to know. More on that later. Ignorance is bliss. Anyway. And then my mom also play Candy Crush with her. Like she'll be on it, and then my daughter would help her do stuff. And then recently they started watching the Chinese news on FairchildTV. So there's another post about news that I have. I don't follow the news, but anyway, my daughter probably knows more about the current political climate than I do. Like she was the one who taught me what Trudeau and Trump's names were in Chinese, and she also was the one who taught me what COVID was in Chinese. I mean, there'd be times when I'm picking her up and she'd be like, please Mom, just let me finish the news before I go. I'm like, I'm like, what? What the hell? Anyways, and then after the news is one of those historical Chinese dramas that comes on, and she doesn't like it because they're I guess too weird. The clothing's too weird for her. So she'll tell my parents like, oh, Sanjaku, I'm Santaego, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And this is till the turn off the TV before the show's opening credits can come on. Just recently, I was actually on the FairchildTV news. I was talking about my journey as a Chinese Canadian, and my past about rejecting my culture a little bit, and then slowly embracing, and then also about my How to Deal with Asian Parents book. And she actually saw me on TV, and she was asking my parents like, why is my mom on TV? Because there was like the previews that goes on before the segment for a few days. And I think that like her connection to me on being on TV made my mom and dad like even more proud of what I've been doing. Even though they'll never say it, but their excitement of seeing me on TV, you know, telling me that they saw me and taking pictures of the TV, videotaping filming the TV of me on TV, and then sending me it, and then like to me it shows, right? And telling me that my daughter saw me on TV, it's, you know, all signs that they're proud. And lastly, healthy meals, right? That's another thing that parents are often worried about, is, you know, grandparents spoiling their kids with junk and crap, right? Like, you know, taking them out for fries every day. But as one of my parents' positive traits is that my parents mainly feed her home cooked meals, right? Like for food, it'd be like rice or leftovers or pasta or super congee. They have snacks. Okay, so I gotta admit they do have snacks filled with, you know, processed things, like preserved things, like those goldfish crackers or bear paws. So that was like something that I was kind of annoyed with, but I came up with a win-win solution for, which I'll talk about in the next another episode. But really, like, it's something that my parents and I both agree on, is like we don't really go out to eat that often. So I don't really worry about them taking her out for a Happy Meal every day. It was the way we grew up. Like, it wasn't just about the financial piece. You know, it's obviously way more expensive to go out to eat than to make a meal you're at home. We always just felt that going out for a meal at a restaurant is considered a treat. And, you know, like it was someone's birthday or a special occasion, that's the only time you actually go out to eat. And that's something that we're practicing as our family. And my mom and dad, stuck in their ways, they're still doing that, even though they probably could afford to go out to eat a little bit more. They just don't, because they don't like, they just actually don't like the feeling after eating out, and that's something that I've inherited or just started to just have. That's the tip, is to focus on their strengths and their positive traits. And trying to like not think about the negative stuff. And that's kind of like the tip that I would give for anyone who is trying to deal with their Asian parents when they take care of their kids. So stay tuned for the next episodes where I talk about having a tough conversation.